You are now tuned in.
This is TRILL Latino Live. We gon' bring it to you real now. Yeah, we all the way live. Ain't nobody gonna tell it. This is TRILL Latino Live. We gon' bring it to you real now. Yeah, we all the way live. Ain't nobody gonna tell it. This is TRILL Latino Live. We gon' bring it to you real now. Yeah, we all the way live. Ain't nobody gonna tell it. This is TRILL Latino Live. We gon' bring it to you real now. Yeah, we all the way live. Big E. You not tuned into the best. It's Big E, Daniel Booming.
Man, welcome in TRILL Latino Live, another episode, another day, and with special guests today, man. We got a very special guest in the building. You might have seen this guy on movies such as American Me, Menace to Society, Wayne's Brother, Crazy Beautiful, A Better Life, Sons of Archie, Charm. Man, I don't even want to go on with the rest of the list, man. There's so many movies, and the most famous movie, man, that everybody, all the raza knows him from is Next Friday, man. And welcome, Rolando Molina, to the show, man. Welcome in.
Everybody was good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, man.
Hey, Rolando, man, I thank you, man, for giving us your time, man, to tap in with us, man. I know you're a busy person, man, and it's an honor, man, to get to talk to you, man, and have you on the show today, man.
I appreciate that, man. I just, I know that it's been a minute for us to try and get this thing going.
Oh, yeah.
Is my sound okay, by the way? I just want to make sure because I'm using a mic here.
Yeah, you're perfect.
Cool. Yeah, man. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate that, man. Sorry for the delay, but it's just I moved from LA. I'm living in the state of Utah now, so it's getting a little getting used to right now.
Hey, I know you told me
what made you make the move?
Yeah.
My mom's fighting a good fight right now. She's doing good, but I wanted to be close to the family. And whenever I needed my family, they've always been there for me. And now it's my turn, So it's an open secret that I shared with my audience that my mom's battling the C word right now. I don't even like to say it,
right.
But my parents are both Christians and they're firm believers in God. And my mom is the strongest woman I know. She literally, she's got no worries. Like literally, she's just like, it's all in God's hands. I'm gonna be fine, But I needed to be here, so that's why I made the move.
Man, that's great, Rolando. I mean, prayers from us from here at TRILL Latino Live, man. Prayers to to the familia and stuff, man. And you know what?
Yes.
And you saying that, man, I understand that because my mom's in her 70s, bro. And when she gets sick like that, she's the same way, man, in good spirits. And that's a good thing that she's in those, good spirits and being positive about it, man. I think that has a lot for their healing time, man. And like I said, man, prayers with you and the familia.
I appreciate that, my brother.
Yes, sir. Hey, Rolando, so to your acting career, man, as far as I know, we've seen some things on how you got started and stuff. Did you always want to be an actor or does that just like fall in your like, you know what, hey, I'm gonna give it a shot? Or
Well, to be perfectly honest, I grew up in LA, grew up in Hollywood with the magic of movies and film. My mom used to take me and my little brother to the movies Saturday nights, and that's where I saw some of the best films of all time. I'm talking like I saw Star Wars on the big screen, I saw Jaws on the big screen, E.T. So the the infinite love for films just came from that at first, but I never thought about becoming an actor until I was probably about 12 years old, 12, 13 years old. And I saw a film for the first time called Stand By Me. And Stand By Me, it's a classic coming of age story film with four actors that were very young at the time. Excuse me. I just had something for dinner that is spicy as hell, bro. I'm trying to get it out of my throat. Excuse me. So, anyways, um, so in this film, there was these four young actors. One of them was Will Wheaton, Corey Feldman, Jerry O'Connell, and River Phoenix. A lot of people don't know who River Phoenix is, but if you Google River Phoenix, he happens to be the older brother of Joaquin Phoenix, who plays the Joker and won the Academy Award for the Joker a couple of years back. And yeah, yeah, a lot of people don't know that Joaquin had an older brother. Unfortunately, River passed away when he was about 22 from a drug overdose in West Hollywood on at a club called the Viper Room. Um, but before that, when I saw Stand By Me, his performance in Stand By Me was so deep, so touching. He had one particular scene where he broke down and he cried. And I remember that was the very first time that I got emotional watching the performance of another actor, and it moved me. It really, truly, truly moved me. So I at that moment, I think is when the mustard seed was planted within me. I said, that's what I want to do. I want to be able to move people like that. I want to be able to make people feel something through my performances. And that was the beginning of the journey of wanting to become an actor. Um, and what sealed the deal was for me is that I actually got to meet River Phoenix
Wow.
face to face. Yeah, yeah. I was, as I'm sure you already know, I was working security at Universal Studios,
Mhm.
and he was shooting a film called Sneakers with Robert Redford. And this is like literally, I think maybe his last film before he passed. Anyways, long story short, I was working security there, and something went down where when an older security guard didn't let him in, didn't know who he was. He wasn't on the list, and River Phoenix doesn't need to be on the list, anyways. So they didn't let him in. So it was this big debacle. And then the watch commander said, "Okay, one of you guys is gonna have to go and apologize to River Phoenix." And I'm like, I'll do it. I'll do it. And I went to his trailer, man, and I knocked on the door. He opened the door, and I go, Mr. Phoenix, on behalf of the security department, Universal, we apologize for the confusion at the gate and all that stuff. And he was really cool, shook his hand and everything. And that kind of sealed the deal for me that I wanted to be not like him. I just wanted to be able to touch people
Right.
and through my performances.
That's what I was gonna ask Des. Do you feel like a lot of your acting, like when you're doing your movies, do you think about those that time of that scene and stuff like that on some of your parts, or parts that call for you to be emotional like that? Like, is that one of your?
Well, yeah. So I've never had any formal training as far or didn't go to acting school or took acting classes, nothing like that. I'm pretty much a natural. And I do know that I remember the first time that I had to get emotional for a scene. I remember Rivers' performance, and it was so genuine, so real, so deep. When you're a kid and you get beat up by your parents or whatever, and you go to your room and you're crying and you're trying not to be loud, and you're you kind of, they call it suspiro, a
Yeah.
suspiro in Spanish. It's kind of like you know and River was doing that, and it's the only way to really do that is to really really feel that, to really cry and to really be emotional about it, right? So that's when I realized that in order for me to get emotional the way River did in that scene, was that I had to feel it. I really had to feel it. So, and it goes back to my mom. My mom, she had a very rough childhood. Her upbringing, she was the oldest of seven siblings, and she suffered quite a bit. So every time I would hear the story she would tell me, it would make me cry. So when I had to get emotional in scenes for films and television shows, I just remember my mom
Yeah.
and everything that she gone through. And so when I get, oh, That's what I'm talking about. Just thinking about it's getting me to that point. Um, but I think of my mom every time I need to get emotional because that's what brings it out of me,
Yeah.
you know. And I know that River had a real life experience because I've read up on River's life and everything. And his parents were a couple of hippies. His brother's name is Joaquin. His sister's name is Rain Phoenix. And they traveled around a lot because his parents were hippies. And so he had a pretty tough childhood too. So that's where I think he derived all that feeling from to be able to get emotional. And that's what I try to do too, just try to emulate, not imitate, but emulate.
Right. And that's funny you say that, man, because I recently just watched the movie Stand By Me. I just seen it because it's on Netflix right now. And
Oh, is it?
yeah, it's on
Okay.
Netflix. And then I recently watched it, and my wife's always like, because I watch a lot of '80s movies, man. I love '80s. Even if I've seen them one time, I continue. I love watching, man. I love that. I love that time, man. I wish I was what do you call it? Like I'm like maybe like 18, 19 around in those
The
times. But
50s.
unfortunately, I was a youngster. I wish I lived in
No,
the '80s though,
listen,
man.
I feel you, bro. Growing up, I always thought that I should have been a teenager in the 50s because I loved the culture, I loved the music, I loved the fashion of the 50s. I even went through a little uh kind of greaser rebel stage in my life where I would dress in 501s rolled up at the bottom and slick my hair back, white t-shirts, with big old belt buckles and uh, these kind of like biker boots and stuff. So, and that was influenced on me from the 1950s culture, the greaser culture, if you will. And so I feel the same way, brother. I feel like I should have been a teenager in the 50s. I was born in the wrong decade.
Yeah, it definitely come from that era from back then. Like Vicky was saying, he used to watch the movies over and over again. That was the culture. Like you had a VHS tape and you had a
Yep.
choice of like 10, 12 movies, and you watch those movies over and over again because that was it.
Because you had no choice,
Yeah.
especially if you grew up poor and you couldn't really afford to rent or buy these VHS. And a lot of these youngsters don't even know what a VHS is, so we're aging ourselves right now by saying that. But a VHS was basically a huge cassette tape that you would put into what's called a VCR, and VCR stood for video cassette recorder. Um, and you would watch movies. You would connect it to your back of your TV, and you'd watch all these movies. But back then, it was pretty pricey, man, to buy VHS or even rent one. So you couldn't really do it all the time. But you're right. Whenever you bought one, like I remember the first VCR that my parents bought. We went to rent a movie, and the first movie we rented was Top Gun, and that's the first movie we saw on VCR, bro. That was pretty dope.
Was it a blockbuster?
Yeah, you probably watched it like two or three times before you had to take it back, right?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And but yeah, it was in Blockbuster where I grew up. I grew up in the city of North Hollywood,
Okay.
and they had a video store called the Odyssey Video,
Okay.
and it's kind of a famous spot because the Odyssey Video sign is still up to this day, even though there's nothing in there anymore. And they even shot a couple of movies there, like Lethal Weapon was shot there, and so that's where we went to go get our videos all the time. This is way before Blockbuster or Hollywood Video was around, so that was our go-to Odyssey Video.
And growing up in right there in the scene with all these actors, man. I mean, so I mean, like you said, that was your favorite actor, and whereas was it like, what, I'm gonna set myself after you got your role? Was that something that you wanted to keep pursuing, or did there something else that you wanted to pursue as a youngster besides acting?
You know what? It's funny because when I started working at Universal Studios, the only reason I was working at Universal Studios was right out of high school. I went and I applied at all these major studios to try and get any job, just to try to get my foot in the door to see how do I become an actor, right? And in the process of that, it was. it was very discouraging because it just seemed like impossible from what other actors would tell me. Oh, you got to be in the union, but in order to be in the union, you got to do a TV show or a film that's a union film or TV show, and so it was like a catch-22 thing. So I was getting a little discouraged. So I remember there was the West Hollywood Sheriff's Department had jurisdiction at Universal Studios as a law enforcement, and there was this Latino sheriff by the name of Mejia. And Mejia, he was really cool, really, really cool. And, he would tell me all these stories about, how he got into being a sheriff and all these stories of how he would help people and rescue a few people and stuff like that. So yeah, I got really interested in wanting to be a cop. I actually really wanted to be a cop. So I started hanging out with him and his buddies, and I kind of got the I guess the lingo or the attitude of being a cop and everything, because I was gonna, I was getting close to joining the academy. And then before that, right after that, that's when I met Edward James Olmos at Universal Studios, and I couldn't believe it was him. And now Eddie Olmos, I was a huge fan of his. He was Miami Vice, dude. So he was starting pre-production on a movie called American Me. And I remember when I met him, I told him, Mr. Olmos, I want to be an actor just like you, and it's a dream of mine. And he's like, well, just keep trying. You never know what can happen. And yeah, that's how Eddie talks, right?
Sound like
And yeah, right. A lot of people say I sound like him. Um, I actually he ended up giving me the opportunity to audition for his film to play a cop,
yeah,
and that's the whole thing, right? Like I was like I said, I already kind of had the idea of what the persona of a cop is like, and then I had a couple of run-ins with some dick cops before. So this cop had to be a jerk, So I was like, all right, I think I can do this. So when I went for the audition, I ended up, just pretending to be one of these cops that pulled me over as a youngster and, was a jerk, So I did that, and I used that as, my motivation for the performance, and I ended up booking it.
Good evening. Bus will stop running at midnight. Is everything okay?
Yeah, what's the problem?
You ever been in the joint?
Yeah.
What about you, miss?
No. Hey, look, we weren't doing anything wrong here.
See some ID? This your jacket? Have any weapons? Okay, step to the car, put your hands on the hood. Now!
Hey, he wasn't doing
Stay out of
it.
this, ma'am.
She's just a chick I picked up at a party, all right?
And he wasn't
Stay
doing
back!
Step away from the car and put your hands on top of your head.
And that was the beginning of my entire career. And I always say this: I owe my career to Edward James Olmos, and I will never deny that.
that's awesome. How many months did
Yeah,
y'all film? Was it did it take a while for you to film those parts in American Me, and now working by him, on the same.
well, I learned a lot. I learned a lot from just watching him and observing Eddie, because Eddie, not only was he the star of the film, but he was also the director. It was his directorial debut. It was his first time directing, and seeing him fill both shoes of that of the actor and the director at the same time was fascinating to me. So I observed a lot, and that's how I learned. That's how I actually learned set etiquette, what the meanings of everything was. Because when you start shooting, it's like, all right, the AD yells out, all right, quiet on set, roll camera, roll sound, all right, ready, set, and action. and you just learn all this lingo and everything, and how to treat others on set and whatnot. So I learned a lot just by observing. And we shot that. The movie itself lasted about 6 months, 8 months to film. But my scenes were only a couple of days. And we were doing it at night. So because I only literally had one scene and one line in that film,
Yeah.
and that's all I needed to
Oh,
get my
yeah.
career started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's
was.
pretty big to get a line in your first movie ever in a major motion picture. So yeah,
Let alone a studio film, my boy. So yeah,
yeah, yeah.
for sure. That was I always thought to myself that it was my destiny because I had the opportunity when I was 13 years old to become an actor because I had been approached in my junior high by a talent agent, and she really wanted to represent me. Unfortunately, at the time, um, my mom took me to go meet this casting director, or not casting director, it was a talent agent by the name of Schumacher. It was the Schumacher talent agency. I'll never forget it. And the lady auditioned me. I pretended I did a Skippy peanut butter commercial script for her and everything. And she loved me. She said, "Oh, you're great at this. I want to represent you." And she told my mom that she needed headshots. She needed my social security number. And then when we left, my mom's like, "Oh, I can never bring you back here again." And I'm like, "Why?" She said she wants to represent me, Mom. Well, you don't have a social. At the time, we were all undocumented. And the fear was that, it says no social, uh, you know, back in the 80s, it was like that, if you were not documented, the fear of La Migra and all that was always there.
Mhm.
So unfortunately, it didn't happen that time, but it's because I think God had a plan for me. It's like not yet. Now it's your turn. And when I was on the lot of Universal and that happened, it just felt right. It felt like okay, this is when I was supposed to start doing it. And I'm really blessed and thankful that happened the way it happened.
So
Because I'm sorry. Go ahead.
did you stay working as a security officer after that?
No,
Uh,
hell no.
Hey,
Mm-mm.
you gotta keep getting paid.
yeah.
Never
Listen,
know.
well, no, but the thing was that one gig. So at the time, I had a friend. Her name was Erin Walters. Her mom happened because Erin was an actress. She'd been practicing trying to be an actress, so she had her headshots and everything. And her mom worked for a talent agency. And when I told Erin, I go, "Hey, guess what? I booked this movie." She's like, "What? No way!" And I brought her on the set with me and everything, and because she just couldn't believe it, right? And then she's like, "You know what, Rollo?" She brought this book. It's called a monologue book. So I don't know if you guys know what a monologue is, but it's a monologue is basically when an actor has this huge like pages of
Like a
of,
script or
of
what?
dialogue. It's like a script, but it's kind of like they're telling you a story, right? It's kind of like a narrator almost, right? So she brought this book of monologues. She's like, "Hey, I just want to see what you can do with this. Pick a story and read it to me." I'm like, "All right." So I remember there was this one story of this 15-year-old kid who was in a support group, and he was talking about his dad who had passed away. And when I was younger, I grew up without a dad up until I was about 8, and then my mom met this man who she ended up marrying, and he became my father. But before that, I remember what it was like not having one. So it kind of related to the story of this kid. So I told Aaron, I go, "You know what? Let me do this monologue." So all right. So the scene is, you're sitting down in this support group in a circle, and it's your turn to talk. And I go, "So Stevie, you want to tell us about your experience?" And so Stevie, the character that I was playing, starts talking about his dad, and I got a little emotional. And after I was done, Aaron's like, "Oh my God, Rolo, you can really act." I'm like, "You think so?" She's like, "Yes, definitely. You got to meet my mom." So I met her mom, and her mom did the same thing. She had me read a couple of monologues for her, and she's like, "Aaron, he can act." And Aaron's like, "I know, mom. That's why I brought him to you." So she ended up representing me, and so everything just started falling into place. The money that I made in American Me paid for my headshots. It paid for my initiation dues with the union, the Screen Actors Guild, and put a little money in my pocket, enough money where I didn't need to have another job. I could take a good amount of time off. So, but in the meantime, that's what kickstarted my career because once I got an agent and she started submitting me for parts, I started getting auditions and I started booking and booking and booking and booking. I think my second gig was Menace to Society.
Oh wow.
A lot of people don't know. Yeah, a lot of
Big,
people don't know I
big
was in
movie.
that.
Big movie also.
Oh yeah, Menace was huge. And and I noticed that you have Pablito in the background
Yeah.
from Blood In, Blood Out.
Yeah.
So so check this out. Blood In, Blood Out was actually being filmed at the exact same time that we shot American Me.
Wow.
And and it was shot in East LA, just like American Me. The only difference was that Eddie almost had the respect of going to the neighborhoods of White Fence and Hazard and all those gangs in East LA to ask for permission to film there. Blood In, Blood Out, those producers didn't do that. So they actually had a drive-by on the set of Blood In, Blood Out.
They had a lot of
And one of
backlash
the
with that,
cater,
right? They had
yeah,
a lot
one
of
of the,
backlash from the movie,
yeah,
right?
well, so did American Me.
Oh,
Eddie almost did, but not from the gangs in the neighborhoods. It was from the La M.
yeah.
But Blood In, Blood Out, they ended up having a drive-by on the set, and one of the caterers got hit. He didn't get killed, but he got hit. So it just it's pretty amazing to me the influence that these films have had
Hmm.
on me, you know, and the fact that it started my career and that I started booking left and right, and that's basically how my entire career got started, man. People obviously know me from next Friday, next Friday, but um, it feels pretty dope to all of a sudden have one of my followers on TikTok go, "Hey, was that you and this and the other?" I go, "Yeah." "Oh my God, I didn't know that was you," and recently I just posted a video on TikTok. My parents called me because I'm staying with them right now while I, find my own place. My mom called me, "Mijo, mijo," and I ran outside and thought, "Well, mom, you okay? What's wrong?" She's like, "Look, you're on TV." I was like, "What?" And it was an old TV show that I did called Ladies of the House. So I kind of recorded that moment
Yeah.
of what my parents being proud to see their son on the little screen now, and I posted it. And see, and it's things like that, bro. The people don't realize that I have over 117 credits, I think, to my name on IMDb, meaning that I've done over 117 television shows and films over a 33-year span in my career, you know.
Congratulations.
So I've done a lot more than just next Friday.
Yeah.
Oh
Hey,
yeah,
Rolando,
definitely.
so
We see it.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. I said no. We see a lot of the credits we're going through there, and one of them that shocked us was the Family Guy. You're on the Family Guy and American Dad, or and so did they drew you to look similar to what you look like, right?
Well, okay, so my understanding, because I had never done animation before or voiceovers, but my understanding was that an actor would they would draw first, they would do the animation first, and then the actor would go into a room and look at the screen and watch the character or the animated character and do the voice to imitate and kind of match what the animated character is doing on the screen. But I found out that that's not the way it's done anymore. Now what you do is you go in you do the voiceover first, the lines, and then the animators listen to your voice performance, and then they draw and animate around your performance. So my first voiceover was on American Dad, and that was an opportunity that I got through my agent, who was friends with the casting director at Fox Animation Studios, and her name was Linda Lamontagne. Linda, the casting director, called my agent and said, "Hey Pam, we're looking for a new, fresh Latino voice for American Dad. And do you have any Latin guys?" And my agent's, "Oh, I got the perfect guy for you. Hit me up." She's like, "Hey, they want to audition you for this show." "Oh, okay, cool. Send me the site." She's like, "No, no, it's over the phone." I'm like, "You mean it's over the phone?" "Well, it's a voiceover audition." I'm like, "Wait, what? Really?" Okay, then she told me what it was for, American Dad and all that. And I was a big fan of Family Guy, American Dad, Seth MacFarlane in general. So I was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." And it was actually a couple of lines, but it was the same line. So when I got the script, I had to say this line about three different times in different forms, in different manners. Um, so I ended up having to call the casting office at Fox Animation Studios, and Linda answered the phone. "Hi, Rolando, you're on a conference call. We got the director here. We got Seth MacFarlane here." And I heard Seth MacFarlane. I'm like, I tensed up, bro, because I was like, "Oh snap, he's right there, bro." And he's like, "Hey, Rolando, how you doing? It's nice to meet you." And Seth, I'm like, "Hey, Seth, hello," over the phone. I just didn't know what to say to him. So like, I was like, Seth MacFarlane. So anyway, Linda's like, "Okay, whenever you're ready, you can just go ahead and deliver the lines." I'm like, "Okay." And the line was, "Lávate las manos, lávate las manos, lávate las manos." So I just had to say "lávate las manos" in different variations of it. I come to find out after I book it that it's the episode where Steve, those of you that are American Dad fans, you will know what I'm talking about. Roger makes Steve believe that he's going to Hogwarts, the Harry Potter thing, right? And when he walks, he's actually going to a meth lab. And my character is the meth cook. And so, they bring him in the room and they go, this is your partner right here. And Steve's like, "Oh, you must be my Ron Weasley." And I'm like, "Lávate las manos," like, go wash your hands. "Oh, is that a spell?" Steve says, so he thinks it's a spell. And I'm like, "Lávate las manos." And he's like, "Lávate las manos." So he thinks it's a spell that I'm telling him to do. But it's the funniest thing when you watch it.
Potions class! Did you get all this stuff from Professor Snape?
You do not freaking ask who we got this from.
He who shall not be named.
This is Hoppy. He knows what to do.
My potions partner! You're my Ron Weasley!
Lávate las manos.
Is that a spell?
Lávate las manos.
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 Lávate las manos!
So anyway, shortly after that, I started a couple weeks later. I got another call from Linda and said, "Hey, we want to bring you back to do another voice." I'm like, "Really? Yeah, okay, cool." So I went in, and then I started doing different voices for American Dad, different characters, but they were all Latino, so they just kept hiring me. Eventually, one day they called me and they go, "Hey, we want you to come in, but we're not for American Dad. We want you to do a voice for Family Guy." And I'm like, "No way, Family Guy, let's go!" And I was so excited, bro. And that was the first time I started doing Family Guy voices too. And there's a bunch of different ones. One of my favorite ones from Family Guy is where Peter accidentally shoots Cleveland's son, and they throw him in jail. And while Peter is locked up in a jail cell, um, they lock him up with this tough Latino dude, the tattoo teardrop, and tank top. And Peter's like, You're not gonna rape me, are you? And he goes, of course I'm not gonna rape you. I'm gonna make you fall in love with me first. Then we'll see what happens.
You're not gonna rape me, are you?
Of course I'm not gonna rape you. I'm gonna make you fall in love with me. Then we'll see what happens.
So I actually got my scene with Peter Griffin and made Peter Griffin fall in love with me. He's like, it's already working, bro. It was just so cool. So those voiceovers that I've done for Fox Animation have been a lot of fun, and they led to other animated voices that I've done for other shows.
Reach for the stars.
What?
I think he's telling us to follow our dreams.
Where are the drugs?
What are you doing? You are violating all kinds of procedures.
There's no drugs here, pig.
Aha! No drugs, huh? Well, what do you call this? And I bet there's more where that came from. They're trying to flush their stash.
So definitely one of the highlights of my career of doing American Dad and Family Guy. Definitely.
That's crazy. From American Me to American Dad, right?
Imagine that. Yeah, bro. American Me to American Dad.
Hey, and Jim Carrey was another big actor that you worked with, right? How was it working with Jim Carrey, man? He's, I mean, top dog.
Bruce Almighty.
Check it out. Hey, check it out. Oh, look, it's the hero. What's up, homie?
Yo, brethren, what up with thee? Blessings on your alley.
Looking for another can of whoop ass?
You didn't get enough, Mr. Hero?
He wants some more.
Surely I say unto you dudes, I do not wish to fight. So as soon as you apologize and make a full reckoning of your transgressions, I shall absolve you and continue along the path of righteousness.
What are you talking about, man? Hey, you kind of funny, you know what I mean? I don't know if you lost it all up in here or what, but check this out, homie. You want me and the homies to apologize, right? Mm-hmm. All right, go. I'll tell you what. We'll apologize. The day a monkey comes out my butt, then you get your sorry. How about that?
What a coincidence, because that's today.
Hey, did that monkey just come out your crack, man?
Ese diablo.
This is some bullshit, man. Vámonos! Let's go!
You guys leaving? Hey, don't forget your parting gifts.
Bruce Almighty. Let me tell you. I grew up watching Jim Carrey on a show called In Living Color.
Yeah.
And Jim Carrey, when I first met him, he was just one of the most down-to-earth, gracious, giving, and very caring actor and individual, you know. He was very he was just very down-to-earth and open about everything. I remember one time in between takes, we're sitting down and Jim comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, man, so you grew up in the Valley? You said you grew up in the Valley?" I go, "Yeah, I did." "Here in LA, right?" I go, "Yeah." "So what's the Valley?" And I started telling him. And anyways, he started asking me questions about my life growing up in LA. And I, I'm telling him the story. And one of the ADs comes over and goes, "Hey, Jim, they need you on set." And Jim's like, "Hold on, one moment." And turns to me and goes, "Finish your story." I'm like, he literally wanted me to finish my story and made production wait for him, just so he can listen to my story. So I thought that was really cool about him. But definitely another one of my highlights, working with Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey is just one of the coolest dudes ever.
That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
Hey, a lot of movies, like the Wayans brothers. There's other, ones. I mean, those are the Wayans brothers. Those are people that I'd love to meet myself, man. I can imagine you, working with those those comedians, man. It's just.
Well, man, let me tell you, I've been very blessed to have had the career that I've had, and very blessed to have worked with the caliber of actors that I've worked with, and I've worked with actors from the comedic standpoint to the dramatic standpoint. Um, and I've been asked before, do you ever get starstruck working with these celebrities? I'm like, no, because the bottom line is I see them as my colleagues. Because when we're on set, we're both there to do the same job, which is to perform, to entertain. So no, never been starstruck, but there was one time where I got starstruck. I couldn't believe it. Um, I worked on a TV show called Boston Legal, and one of the stars of that show was the great William Shatner, who a lot of you may know him as Captain Kirk from Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
And well, let me tell you, when I sat down to do my scene, because I had my scene with him and another one of the stars of the show called John Larroquette, who's also a legend in the industry. But I was so focused, and because I had to translate all my lines from English to Spanish, because my character only spoke Spanish but understood English perfectly well. He just couldn't speak English. So, in the scene, I'm talking to them in Spanish. So I'm sitting there focused on memorizing my lines in Spanish. And then the director comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, Rolando, you ready to shoot the scene?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it." So I'm sitting there. They're behind a desk. They're playing my lawyers. My character gets arrested for illegal cockfighting because he doesn't know that it's illegal in the United States to have roosters fighting. And so Boston Legal, John Larroquette and William Shatner play lawyers on the show, and they were going to be representing my character. My character's name was Miguel Obispo, and I remember the director's like, "All right, let's shoot this." And the director's like, "All right, roll sound, roll camera, and action." And I look up, ready to deliver my first line, and it hit me right there and then. I looked at William Shatner. I'm like, and then the director goes, "Cut, Blondo, is everything okay?" I'm like, "That's William Shatner." And everybody in the room started busting up, bro. They all started laughing at me because they're like, it's like one of those moments where I'm just like, I have the William Shatner right in front of me. Like, what the, you know? So it was a good time though, because William was very gracious. Bill, as he likes to be called, Bill was very gracious, and it's like, "Oh, it's okay. We're here to, do the same thing. You're great. So he was very sweet about it.
Did you get
But
nervous after that doing your lines and stuff? Was it?
I didn't. You know what? That's one thing.
Wow.
I never get nervous. I never get nervous.
Yeah.
I've always felt that um, I don't know. It just like the lines flow out of me once the director yells action.
Yeah.
And so it's I never get nervous. Do I forget lines? Of course. Every actor, every major actor, celebrity, I don't care what status you've forgotten a line. There's not one actor that has never forgotten a line. So you forget a line, the director says, "Cut, all right, reset, let's do it again from the top and action," and you do it over again until you get it right. But never really nervous. And after, it was a funny moment. So it actually, there was a sense of relief after everybody was laughing because we were all laughing together at the moment,
Kind of broke the ice.
so exactly, kind of broke the ice. And then the fact that Bill came up to me and pats me in the back, "Oh, you're doing great, just keep it up." It was great. So matter of fact, it got to the point where towards the end of the show, I was in the scene in the court. We were in the courtroom, and the jury declares me not guilty, and I get all excited, and this wasn't even in the script. I ended up turning to William Shatner, and I just decided to give him a hug, and I gave him a big old bear hug, and he's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa," and yeah, he was very sweet. He's like, "Oh, that was great. That was great improvisation. That's amazing." So just getting compliments from William Shatner, man, what a day that was.
Awesome.
This is Miguel Obispo. We, the jury, find the defendant, Miguel Obispo, not guilty.
What?
We appeal, Your Honor.
Mr. Crane, you can't appeal an acquittal, and it would be especially unusual for the defense to try. We're adjourned. The defendant is free to go.
Gracias, señor Sánchez. No sabe cuánto le agradezco. Usted nunca sabrá
Yes,
cómo
I'm sure you're telling me that you're very happy.
De mi esposa,
I'm
mi
happy
hijo.
too.
Ronald Reagan le da gracias.
Tell the family hi for me. Bye-bye. Daddy, don't you want to hug Miguel? He seems very happy. Oh.
Ay, Mr. Crane, gracias.
Are you the only in your family? Are you the only actor? Like I know you said, the way you got put on and stuff like that. Was there anybody else in your family that acted, or do your kids? Do you have kids?
No, I don't have kids. Never been married. I was with my ex-boyfriend for 10 years. That was the longest relationship I ever had. Him and I never decided to have kids, or the only kids we had were our dogs.
Right.
That was about it. But no, nobody else in my family are actors. I mean, well, they are. I mean, a lot of my family members are characters. And I only have one brother, one younger brother. We're 2.5 years apart. But my brother's a character too. He could have probably been an actor if he wanted to, but he chose a different path. But yeah, like I have different characters, but I think every Latino family, we all have that one tío that does this and that one tía that's a chismosa, and all that, but they're different characters. Matter of fact, some of the characters that I've played and developed, I've taken some of the nuances and characteristics of some of my family members and, incorporated it into some of my performances. Like I had an uncle who passed away about 6 years ago. My Uncle Mario. He was the life of the party, man. He was the type of dude that, suave Latino playboy, and he knew how to dance salsa, and he was a ladies' man, all that. And he was a hell of a character. But I remember since he came to this country when he was already an adult, he had an accent. So he the way he would talk is like, hey, he called me El Rollis. Hey, Rollis, vení para acá. You see that woman over there? I'm gonna get her. I'm gonna get her. You wait, espérate. So my uncle had this accent that was so unique, and I ended up using that in one of my characters on a show that I did on Shame. It was called Shameless, TV show Shameless.
Yeah.
So I kind of emulated my uncle, paid homage to my uncle, which was really cool.
Nice. Hey, and Friday
Yeah.
coming up to the movie next Friday. Did that? I mean, how was that working with Ice Cube, man? And I know Ice Cube is a big producer and actor and stuff like that. Was that did that take a while to film as well? Was it a long filming
We
process?
The Joker Brothers scenes, it took us about a month to film everything because we were at different locations every week. And by the way, the Joker Brothers house is not in Rancho Cucamonga. It's in Valencia. It's in a city called Valencia, which is just north of LA. But everybody thought it was Rancho Cucamonga. But
It's
no,
actually
working
a
with
city,
Ice
right, in
Cube.
California. It's actually a city, right? Rancho
Well,
Cucamonga.
Rancho is. Rancho Cucamonga is it's called the Inland Empire, which is like way east of Los Angeles. It's about an hour east of Los Angeles. And matter of fact, my other uncle, he moved his family to Rancho Cucamonga back in the early 90s when Rancho Cucamonga was barely being developed. Working with Cube for me was such an honor because, first of all, I'm a huge fan of NWA. So the first thing I told him when I met him was, bro, NWA, man. Y'all broke boundaries, broke records, everything. Huge fan. So to be working with him was a true honor. But I think that let me tell you the funny story about next Friday, how I ended up booking it. In the mid '90s, I remember I had two auditions, and this was on a Friday. The first one was for a film, I went to that audition first. Then the other one was for a TV show called Living Single with Queen Latifah. And I remember I got home that evening, and my agent calls me and she said, "Hey, congratulations, you booked the TV show in Living Single. Oh, cool. You start Monday. You're going to be working Monday, rehearsing Monday, Tuesday, and you're going to shoot in front of a live studio audience on Wednesday night." I'm like, "All right, cool." So I show up to work on Monday at the Warner Brothers lot and um, sign a contract and everything. And then in the middle of the day, my agent calls me again, and I call her back, and she's like, "Hey, congratulations, you booked the movie." I go, "Which one?" She's like, "The one that you went out on Friday." I'm like, "Oh, cool, all right." And she's like, "Yeah, you start this Wednesday." I'm like, "I can't start Wednesday. I'm working on this show." She's like, "Rolo, this is a big movie. This is, you're gonna make a lot more money. I can get you out of that contract." I go, "No, no, no." The one thing my dad taught me, you don't always finish what you start and always be an honorable man. The fact that I signed a contract, I was already committed to the show. So I literally gave up that movie. I passed on that movie because I had to. I had to finish the show, even though the show was only one line. But things worked out the way they're supposed to. Um, this movie was called Friday. It was the original Friday. And I was going to play the role of Hector, the guy who goes, "Yo, Smokey," in the lowrider
Oh
in
yeah,
the first Friday.
yeah.
So I gave it up, not knowing that Friday was going to be a huge hit, right? But because I gave it up, Warner Brothers took wind of it, and I ended up booking a TV show called ER, which was I was a recurring character, and that was my prize for being loyal to Warner Brothers. And then when next Friday came around, I get the audition to play Baby Joker, and I get to the audition, and they go, "Oh, we don't even want you to audition. We already know you can do this. We just want to let you know you got the part." And I got the part on next Friday, and it was a bigger role and more popular and everything.
Hey, does that Chico? What's wrong with him? I don't know. That dog got issues. Hey, so what's wrong with my perro? What you do to my dog, fool? Nothing. Hey, just keep counting the money, huh? Hey, Julio!
So blessings came my way for doing the right thing, to sticking to my word.
Do you still stay in contact with the Joker brothers? Are you still with all the actors that you've worked with? Is like as far as the ones from Friday and stuff? You still?
My boy Jacob Vargas, who played Joker, and Lobo Sebastian, who played Little Joker. We're the type of dudes that it years can go by, and then when we reunite, it was like it was just yesterday. We're brothers for life. Those are my brothers for life, and we're dear friends to each other. We have a lot of love and respect for each other.
We need to do a podcast with like all the Jokers. Boom, like the Jokers from next Friday, man. The Joker brothers, man. Have them all on here.
Well,
That'd be awesome.
well, for one thing, you could probably get Jacob Vargas to do it,
Yeah.
but you will not be able to get Lobo to do it. And let me explain why. Lobo doesn't even have any kind of social media. No Instagram, no Facebook, no TikTok, nothing. He is a hermit. Lobo is the type of dude that he's a fantastic actor. He's an amazing, amazing talent. The last thing I saw him in was a movie with Clint Eastwood called The Mule. And like usual, my boy Lobo killed it.
Yeah.
But Lobo was a very private individual. He would never he wouldn't even do a podcast or anything like that.
Yeah.
But Jacob probably would. Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Get Jacob on here. That'd be dope.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do.
Hey, so starting off your career was with Edward James Olmos. Did you ever have the opportunity to work with him again?
No, not work with him, but I've ran into him plenty of times at events, at networking events, just random situations too. Like for example, last year I went to San Antonio to do a meet and greet, back in October of last year. And the promoter is like, "Hey, man, they're having a Comic-Con here in San Antonio this weekend too. I got us tickets if you want to go." I'm like, "Oh yeah, dude, I'm down. Let's go to Comic-Con." Little did I know that Edward James Olmos was there at the Comic-Con. Him and Lou Diamond Phillips, and they were doing this Q&A. So I went up there, and they were passing the mic around afterwards, asking people to ask questions. And they passed me the mic, and I go, well, I don't have a question. I just have a short little story. I go, back when I was 19 years old, I wanted to be an actor, and I got the greatest opportunity by that man up there, Edward James Olmos. And here I am over 30 years later. And thanks to you, Eddie, I'm still an actor. And yeah, Eddie and I, he's such a gracious dude. He just like, oh, thank you. But yeah, it's pretty cool to run into him every once in a while at special events. Like there was a 25th year anniversary of American Me, and because I'm good friends with Danny La Paz, who played Big Puppet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Danny, he told me about the 25th year anniversary. He's like, "Bro, let's go," and I'm like, "Let's go." And it was in North Hollywood at the Lemley Theaters in North Hollywood, and everybody was talking that, oh, Eddie's not going to show up. He was not going to be able to make it, and whatever. He ended up making it. Eddie ended up making it, and we took photos together. It was a pretty dope reunion to be with all of them.
You were security, right? Like you said earlier. Did you like? Was it in between your shift or what? Or how did that work? Was it like, hey, we want you to be on the, we want you to come out, be a officer. Hey, I quit. I'm going over here.
Oh no! So what happened? What happened was the way I met Eddie was I was working a production gate called the truck gate, and only production vehicles were allowed to go in and out of that gate. Any civilian vehicles weren't allowed. So whenever we had any civilian vehicles come up, we'd have to tell them to turn around because they couldn't come in that gate. So one day, this Porsche 911 cherry red with Florida license plates, tinted windows, pulled up to the gate, and I'm like, "Oh man, this guy, got to turn him around, right?" I told him, "Lower your window." He lowers his window, and it was Eddie Olmos. I'm like, that's when I go, "Oh shoot, Mr. Olmos, it's such a pleasure to meet you." And I told him all that. So he would come in and out of that gate. Like this is when he started pre-production on American Me, and I would let him in.
Yeah.
So one day, this dude drives out of the gate, and he goes, "Hey, which one of you guys is Rolando?" And I'm like, "That's me." He said, "My name's Bob Morones. I'm the casting director for American Me, the movie that Eddie Olmos is directing." Yeah. Well, he wants to know if you want to audition for his film. He's looking for a Latino to play a cop, and he likes the way you look in your security guard uniform. So that's how I got the opportunity to to audition. Eddie actually sent his casting director to ask me if I wanted to audition.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. And the rest is history, man.
So let's talk current films. You got any? I know I see a couple of trailers out there of two new movies that are coming out. What can you tell us about those?
So I haven't. Okay. So when COVID hit, the industry got shut down completely. And in those 2 years, I was lucky to book two gigs. One of them was a show called Animal Kingdom, and the other one was uh, oh yeah, the other one was a show on Netflix, my first Netflix show called Unstable with Rob Lowe and his son John Owen Lowe. And but normally I would work several gigs a year, but I was barely able to book those two. And then right after that, the strikes hit, the writer strike and then the actor strike. And right now there's a potential of the Teamsters going on strike. So it's been extremely slow. And then when I decided to move here to Utah to be with my family, I put my career on hold. So the last two things that I did last summer was two short films that I did for a friend of mine. And those are the two short films that are making the film festival circuits right now. And I think that's what you're referring to, those short films. Um, And yeah, they're doing really well though on the film festival circuits, winning a lot of awards and whatnot. But when I decided to move here, I told my agents, I'm gonna be putting the career on hold for right now. I want to get settled in here. I gotta take care of my parents. I gotta be here for them and focus on them. So I'm probably gonna start back up at the end of the year after this year's over. Back in January, I'll start auditioning again.
Yeah, one of the ones that I saw was called Estella, Is It You?
Estela, is it you?
Yeah,
That's
it looked
that's
like a really good movie.
well, let me tell you, man, that what the funny thing is, a lot of people don't realize I just did a voiceover. All I did in that one, I played the dead husband's voice. Stella is You is about this old woman who gets in her car and all of a sudden she starts hearing her dead husband's voice through the radio. And my good friend Fabian Martin and his wife Maria, they're writers and director. They asked me to be part of it, and I love them to death. So I went ahead and did it. And then after that, I did another short film with him called Henry's Back, and I did that with my good friend Daniel Mora. And they've been, like I said, Estela Is It You has won so many awards because Laura Pantalano, who is the star of it, who plays my wife, she's an amazing, amazing actress from Mexico. She's been on so many shows. Like she was on This Fool. Did you guys see This
Yeah,
Fool?
yeah.
Okay, she played the mom of the main character in the show. And Laura is just such a brilliant actress. She made Estela Is It You what it is right now and is winning awards left and right. So definitely keep out for it. Hopefully it'll be streaming soon.
After such a great, acting career, man, you've had, Orlando. What's your preference, man? Do you like the comedy or is the drama your your better choice? Which one would you choose to do?
Honestly, I'm an entertainer. So I love to do it all. I want to make you laugh. I want to make you cry. I want to make you love me. I want to make you hate me. I want to move you. So to me, I am selective as to some because when I was younger, I would take anything that would come my way.
Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, it's been more about quality over quantity. So I'm selective as to what projects I do. But with that being said, I feel like dramatic films are more of my forte. Comedy, I'm not a comedian by any means whatsoever. Matter of fact, I respect comedians that stand-up comics that go up there and do their live show in front of, that's amazing because I can't do that. But with that being said, if you write a script that's funny and it's well written, I will act the out of it. You know what I'm saying? And make you laugh because if it's written well, I can perform it well and I can, make the character come to life. But with that being said, I would definitely say that I think drama is my forte.
So speaking of that, what would be your favorite role that you've ever played?
So I've been asked that a lot. I don't ever say that I have a favorite role because I love all the characters I played. But I have the most memorable role that I would say would be called Crazy Beautiful. And Crazy Beautiful is a film with uh, Jay Hernandez and Kirsten Dunst. And the reason that's so memorable is because it's one of those films where I accomplish what I set out to do, which is to move people through my performance. And I've had so many youngsters come up to me and tell me about that film. First of all, it's a chick flick, so all the females love that movie. Of course, they love Jay Hernandez. Oh, he's so dreamy, he's so hot. Um, But a lot of people have come up to me and told me after seeing that scene, because I had this very pivotal scene with Jay Hernandez. I play his older brother, who's he's a little thug, and Jay's character Carlos is the studious guy who tried to make something with his life. So, anyways, he comes home late for dinner one night and walks into the kitchen, and we're all having dinner at the little dinner table, and my mom, our mom, starts digging in on him. Oh, this is Tyler, where you been? We've been waiting for you. And he yells at her and leave me alone, blah blah. Don't worry about your own damn life, bro. Big bro was not having that. He slams his hand on the table. Lost. Gets up, all menacing, walks right up to his face. Don't disrespect moms like that, fool. And then and I started telling him basically. He goes, "Well, you didn't tell me how to talk," and I'm like, "Hey, listen to me, homie. She busts her ass every day at a shit job for you, for you." I said, "Not me. Every day, you owe it to her. Make something yourself." And he goes, "Why? Because you didn't." Ooh, that struck a nerve with my character's name was Hector Nunez, and Hector's like, "Simone," I said, "You got it. You know what? Listen, I'm not as smart as you. I'm not as fast as you. You have the opportunity to become whatever the hell you want to become." So I start schooling him and letting him know that he can do better than me. He don't be like me. Be better than me.
Boss, what? Don't disrespect moms like that, boo.
You gonna tell me how to talk?
Huh? Hey, so you know what? Let me tell por favor. Por favor. Let me tell you something, Holmes. She busts her ass every day at a shit job for you, Ese. Not for me. Every day, Ese. You owe it to her to make something of yourself.
Why? Because you did it?
Huh?
Calma. Héctor, esto no es la forma.
Yeah, Simone, you're right. You got it. Let me tell you something, Los. I'm not like you, fool. I'm not as smart as you. I'm not as fast as you. You got something that I never had, Ese. You got the opportunity to become whatever the hell you want to become, fool. You can be a pilot. You can be that congressman if you want, Ese. Whatever you want. And for you to just throw that away for that white girl, that's nothing but pendejadas, fool. And I'm not gonna sit around and let you do that shit to yourself or to moms anymore. You understand me? Look at me, Ese. ¿Me entiendes?
And so that scene, a lot of youngsters relate to it. They tell me, you reminded me of my dad. You reminded me of my older brother who was either locked up or dead. They were trying to tell me the same thing, to be something better, not to be a dumbass and all this. And so definitely Crazy Beautiful, it would be the most memorable film that I've ever done. Very proud of it.
Yeah, it was a great movie, great movie.
Oh, you seen it?
Yeah, I seen it. Well, yeah, back when it first came out.
Yeah. It's still relatable today, though.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why whenever younger guys see it, they recognize me. I can't believe I still get recognized for that film, but I do, and they always tell me the same thing.
Yeah. What's like, put you on the spot right here, Rolando. Give us one of your lines from your lines from Friday, man. Your next Friday. Give us a Baby Joker quote real quick from the movie. I like the one. My favorite scene is the one where you're counting the money.
Hey, is that Chico? Hey, what's wrong with my perro? What you do, my dog, fool?
That's it, man, right there. And I like that part, man. Y'all sitting in there, and then Joker comes back with the we count the money or get in between or something like that, or get in between.
Yeah. Winners and titties or get in between. Yeah, that's my boy Jacob. Jacob actually improvised a lot of those lines. A lot. We all did. We all had our opportunities to improvise. Like the line where I go, hey, Holmes, what do we do with all these ones? And he goes, oh, give it to charity. He says, and I go, shit, charity starts in la casa, que no carnal, and put it in my pocket. That was an improvisation between Jacob and I. It wasn't scripted, so we had a lot of fun being able to improvise and do our own thing. And shout out to Steve Carr, the director, for giving us that liberty to do so.
Hey, the dog, is it one of y'all's
No,
Oh, it was
no.
just a
Chico.
trained dog.
Well, no. Yeah, Chico had an owner. He was his train. The trainer was the owner, but there was two of them, not
Oh,
one. There's Yeah, they were brothers, and in case one of the dogs got finicky and didn't want to act, they would put the other dog in. So there's actually two dogs that play Chico.
wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Hey, Rolando, man, I appreciate you, man. Taking time out and talking with us, man, and hopefully we can set something up with Joker. At least to have the two Jokers on the podcast, and we'll do something here, make something.
Yeah, we'll see what's up, man. I can I'll try to reach out to Jay, see what he's up to these days.
Hey, congratulations on a great career, spanning over like over 30 years, man. And you've
Yes,
been
sir.
some of the top TV shows that you can think of. I was looking, you were on Seinfeld, Rizzoli and Niles, like, just the list goes on and on. The ER episodes, and just a lot
Bro.
of, like, you've been a part of a lot of classics, for the Latino industry and in general, like classic TV shows. You've made an appearance, so.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, brother. Thank you, man. I'm definitely a blessed individual to have had the opportunities that I've had in it's actually been 33 years now that I've been doing this. And I'm grateful for every single moment that I've had. And hopefully continue to have, God willing. But it's definitely been a roller coaster of a ride. And it's not over yet. It's definitely not over yet. I'm gonna be like William Shatner. I want to be like William Shatner. William Shatner is actually 90. He just celebrated his 92nd year of life. He's 92 years young and still the hardest working man in Hollywood. Still acting, still doing, Priceline commercials and just doing flying to space in real life, bro. He flew to space. So I want to be like him in that aspect where I want to keep doing this till the wheels fall off.
Oh yeah, and the doors have opened up, man, to a lot of new Latino films, a lot of new Latino stars, and
Yeah.
we need more, man. We need more
Yeah.
leading roles.
I'm very happy at the fact that a lot of the younger Latinos, because I mentor quite a few of them, have told me that I'm one of the reasons why they became an actor, and that feeling is indescribable when a younger actor tells you that. When I started doing this, I never started doing this for the fame or for the fortune, um, or for the clout. I started doing this because I love being in front of the camera. It's it's like the ultimate high. Like there's no other better high for me. And like I said, when I'm in front of the camera and the director just yells action, I don't even have to think about the lines. They just flow out of me. And I call it the flow. That's what I call it, the flow. The flow is when effortlessly the lines start coming out of you without you even thinking about them. And you're just like, oh, snap, they're coming out. And that's the best feeling that I've ever felt in my life is just being able to do that. And then to top it off is the reaction I get from the audience when they see my performances. So definitely blessed.
Man, that's awesome, Rolando. Man, I ain't gonna lie, man. Coming into this, man. I mean, I've watched you on a lot of movies, and especially the next Friday, one of my favorite movies, and you one of my favorite actors. Man, I was nervous, man, coming into the interview today, man. I was like, man, and it's very rare, but I've interviewed, some big names, man. But today I was feeling the nerves, man. I was feeling it today, man. And you're a great individual, man. Very humble, man. Very down to earth, and man, like I said, thank you for.
Well, you know what? That's one thing that a lot of my followers tell me on TikTok. They're like, dude, you're just so down to earth, bro. I can't believe you're talking to us. And I'm like, well, look, this is one thing that I like. The way I like to explain it to people is this. Um, First and foremost, I'm a human being.
Yeah.
What I do for a living is that of an actor, but what I do for a living does not define the human being that I am. At the end of the day, the way I look at it is, I'll go to set, I'll work the day, 12, 13-hour days, whatever, and then come home. But I have the same things and the same worries that you guys have. You know, I got to make sure my bills are paid. I got to make sure I got a roof over my head. I got to make sure I'm taking care of my family. So I feel like I'm on the same level as everybody else. The only difference is that my job is different than yours. You know, so and then the one thing that my parents instilled in me is to always be kind, to always treat people with respect and dignity, no matter where they come from, no matter who they are. And I live by those words.
That's well put, man. Well said.
Yeah.
Rolando, once again, man, thank you for being on the show, man. I appreciate you. And, we're working on getting to the Dallas here soon. And, for everybody in the Dallas Fort Worth area, Mr. Rolando Molina, man, thank you so much for being on Trill Latino, man. We appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you guys. No problem, man. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, cool, man. Get this stop real quick.
Is that the end of the recording there?
Yeah, we're done with it. Rolando, man, thanks again,
Nice.
bro. I appreciate you, bro. And we're gonna stay in contact, man. Like I said, it's Daniel Boone. We're the ones working on the, trying to get you out here for the meet and greet and stuff, man. But we'll keep in touch.
Yeah, man. No, definitely. Like I said, I did the last greeting meet I did in Texas was in San Antonio. And I love doing the meet and greets, man, because the best feeling to me is when I get to meet some of the fans and how they all I got to do is stand there,
Yeah.
give them a hug, an autograph, and a photo, and
Pictures,
they
yeah.
love that. So
They
yeah, I
love
love doing that
social
too.
medias, the pictures, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So,
But all
but
right,
keep me posted, man. Whenever.
brother. Thank you so much again, man. I appreciate you, man, giving us your time.
Absolutely, guys. Y'all have a good night. All right. See you on the next one.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Later, guys.
Mr. Boomer, thank you, bro.